we've had such a messy season. You know who my prototypical MVP guy is? Like the guy I look at and I'm like, this guy looks like my MVP. He looks like he should win, but he just can't this year because of a lot of losses and a lot of mistakes. It's Josh Allen. He just has everything. He's got the leadership. He puts the team on his shoulder. He has the strongest arm I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anybody
Sure.
with a
Yeah.
stronger arm in my life. That's nuts. He's huge. He looks goofy, but he's an amazing athlete. Nobody can tackle him. It's crazy. He runs. He can't be tackled. He's stiff arms. He does everything. Short passes, deep passes. He can play in the cold. Like he's like a superhero, man.
Yeah, the skill set's absurd, and the passing to go with it is crazy as well.
Yeah, and it's not just like a comp, like it's not just like a underwear Olympics thing where you or a pro day thing like Zach Wilson or Jamarcus Russell on pro day.
This is a real game.
So good. Yeah, this is a real game with real weather and people getting hurt, people getting hit, playing against good teams.
Sure.
They just made too many mistakes, like
that's
losing
the problem
to the Jets, and like so I have him ranked number 11, which is like basically you're out of. I mean, they're not even a playoff team as of today. I don't
not,
think,
and
I don't
honestly,
think so. I don't look at that, but I don't think they are. That's crazy. You can't be MVP.
Yeah, and also another thing, a lot of it is, I don't want to say it's his fault because of course he is the reason why they're good too and why they're in all these games. But he's been throwing a lot of interceptions this year. I don't know how many, I've lost count, but that's probably the biggest detriment to the biggest reason I should say to why he is 11 on your list. Because if he throws less picks, maybe they win more games, and maybe he's higher on the list. I did see another thing though, which is interesting.
He'd be my number one if he didn't make those mistakes. He would be my clear cut number one MVP.
Now I want you to confirm this because you can quickly pull up the scores here. I think 4 out of the 6 losses for the Bills have been like very, very close. Like we're talking like pretty much blown leads. Like they had that first game with the Jets where like everyone's thinking they're gonna win and the Jets upset them.
They lost in overtime.
It's
gotta be. They lost another one in overtime. So
there you go then, right? So
they're a great team. He does great. He's like the best. He's the best quarterback in fantasy. So like, I mean, I don't see how you wouldn't be right. Like they kill it every game. 13 picture that like INTs. Oh my god.
That's the kicker.
And he threw 3 to the same guy in the Jets game week 1, which is
not good.
Stupid. I was telling you, that's one of the reasons why the OC gets fired, because the OC's the one going aggressive. He's trying to one up Kyle Shanahan in the Falcons Super Bowl is what he's trying to do. Like, what are you, an idiot? Did you not watch the Super Bowl? Because that was the most epic disaster ever.
Yeah,
nobody could top it, and they're like, all right, let's throw it deep. Like, no, let's just run the ball or just kneel, just take a knee and punt. You'll win the game. You're playing against Zach Wilson. Like, it's a dub. Nah,
nope.
Throw it deep.
Give him momentum.
No, let's not throw it deep. That's stupid.
I'm with you. It's freaking annoying.
But can you imagine going on the play sheet and being like, "All right, guys, we're gonna call it shot play." Like, what? We can win the game. Hand the ball off. Like, what are you? Just run.
Hey, man.
So I gotta just hand the ball to a running back. That's it.
Decisions like those are how you start to lose your locker room as an offensive coordinator, head coach, whatever it is. So
lose your job. That's what
happened
to Dorsey. Dude, that was so. But you see, after they fired him, like, they're more balanced. They're using this guy,
James Cook.
Ty Johnson.
Johnson
James Cook's looking really good. Yeah. And they're because they're calling different types of run plays, different types of screens to the running back. That's not super.
They're running an actual offense.
Yeah.
That's huge.
And it is Josh Allen's fault when he makes those mistakes, but it's not all on him, because it's like, dude, you don't want to throw it deep all the time. Like, we know you can do that. Like, that's great, but not all the time. There's a time and a place.
Mm-hmm. Very compelling argument you have. Very compelling argument. Obviously, the interceptions and for Josh Allen, I mean, given all the traits, whatever. Obviously, the two major
That's a woulda,
things.
coulda, shoulda. That
Yeah,
doesn't even
right.
count. It's a woulda, coulda, shoulda. I have him number 11, which is bad.
Basically, just out of the
That's
running completely.
horrible.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
you're not in it. Basically,
horrible.
you're out.
Look
Yeah.
at all these guys I have ahead of him. So, guys, here is for the audio listeners, especially here is my 2023 MVP candidates, the MVP race for the NFL award. And it's a mixture of being realistic and like what I truly want. So I'm just gonna go through them really quick. At number 11, we got Josh Allen. Covered him, exactly. Like he is my MVP if he just didn't make those dumb mistakes and throw away those games. Number 10, Trevor Lawrence. Not really my prototypical MVP, but the team's playing great. They're gonna make playoffs. I mean, I expect them to even win a playoff game, maybe two. Like sky's the limit with this team.
Make a
Not
little
really
run.
gonna win
Yeah.
a Super Bowl or nothing, but they're really good. They're not in the upper echelon like we seen them play the Niners. Um, Brock Purdy at number 9. He's playing great. I just think there's another player on his team who deserves the MVP award even more. And so he's just like, to me, he's like a really, really, really good quarterback. Just not quite like MVP set, just not elite, not in that like top notch category where I'm like, oh my God, it's Brock Purdy. Number 8, we got CJ Stroud. They should just give him the offensive rookie of the year right now. Boom, take it. Don't really see him winning the MVP. I think it's a little bit of a stretch, but offensive rookie. Who else would win offensive rookie of the year? Like who's number 2? Could it be
Oh
Tank
man,
Dell, Zay Flowers,
maybe Puka, but I don't know how he's been.
Puka? Puka's
Yeah,
declined a lot.
kind of a little bit. Yeah, right.
Bijan is not.
No,
He's not even
no,
top 3, dog. Gibbs is ahead of Bijan probably.
easily. Right, right.
Yeah.
It's CJ Stroud running away with it. Honestly.
Yeah. Best rookie quarterback we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Number 7, we got Patrick Mahomes having a down year a little bit, but he's not playing horrible, but his wide receivers suck, and it's really affecting him. Lamar Jackson, similar to Josh Allen. He's a superhero. He's amazing. I like the new OC. I like Monken. I like what's going on there.
Hmm.
But he's made some dumb mistakes. He lost to the Browns, and it was another game. I'm like, just these. He looks like Daniel Jones sometimes, and that I don't want
Yeah.
to. I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan, but you look like Daniel Jones, like on like 4 or 5 drives, 6 drives this year. That's horrible. Daniel
Not good.
Jones, not MVP. And he looks like Daniel Jones, as in like he's totally oblivious
Deer in the
to the
headlights.
pass
Yep.
rush, and he doesn't even know the pass, and he just fumbles it, and he
Yeah.
does it several times, and he throws a couple dumb picks, and it's like, Josh Allen, but not as many dumb mistakes. But still, that's why. Now I got Dak Prescott, who is just on fire. I think I might even have to move him up. I think we're gonna have to move this guy up because I was gonna move him down if he lost today, but he played a great game today. Him and CeeDee Lamb are killing it. On top of that, he gets Brandon Cooks involved, Jake Ferguson, elevates Tony Pollard because if you're running back on a great team, it's just the way it goes. So we got Dak Prescott at 5. I think the argument, if anyone's going to argue anything, it would be to move him up. I don't think you can move him down from 5 at all. I think 5
Yeah.
is, I think he may have to go up, especially
The
after
slow
today.
start to the season hurts him a little bit, but
Yeah.
recency bias, and then also there's still plenty of ball left where the games become more and more important as we get closer and closer to January. So those will matter more. I think Dak Prescott could definitely be on his way up for sure. I'm with you.
He plays bad against good teams or 500 teams. So
We'll
the
see.
Seahawks are above 500. So this was I think this was the first time he's beat a above 500 team, which is big. That's
Yeah.
huge. And number 4, I got Tua. So I think I can move Dak ahead of Tua. Number 3, I have Christian McCaffrey. Now, there's not a chance he's going to win MVP. So this one's a bit unrealistic. It's impossible. It's not going to happen. But to me, when I see MVP, that's him. He puts the team on his back. He's one of the best running backs of all time.
Yeah.
I think it could be the best running back the last 20 years. football. So the
Ooh,
only guy that comes close to me would be Adrian Peterson.
Adrian Peterson. Yep.
I can't think of another name. He's way better than Le'Veon Bell. If
Um,
Le'Veon Bell was way faster, that's how Christian McCaffrey would be. He's better than
how
um,
long ago was the Chargers LT?
LT. Yeah,
Ladainian
there you go. And he's
Tomlinson.
a very similar. They're very similar players. Yeah,
Yeah.
LT.
Mhm.
LT would be up there. Yeah, LT. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, but we're talking about
LT.
all-time greats. You know, that's the
Yeah.
company he's in. Bottom line.
LT, Adrian P, and of course, from before the last 20 years, got Barry
Yeah.
Sanders,
All those.
Sweetness, Jim Brown. Um, but he's a Hall of Famer, right? And I
Yeah.
think he's better than AP. That's a good argument if you like AP more than Christian
Yeah.
McCaffrey. We got OJ Simpson here. Yeah, OJ Simpson. OJ Simpson, top 10 running back of all time.
Just how you
Uh,
said Josh Allen would be your MVP, McCaffrey would be mine, but I'm also aware this is really a quarterback award. So
yeah.
we'll see.
Well,
We'll
at
see.
number 2, I have a non-quarterback, Tyreek Hill.
He's
Now,
probably the best bet as a non QB to
yeah.
win it, I would say.
Now,
Continue.
it's just gonna come down to this. I'm gonna leave I guess, my thoughts out of it. If he doesn't break the record, Calvin Johnson's record, if he doesn't get 2,000 receiving yards, he's not gonna win this thing. But if he breaks Calvin Johnson's record and gets above 2,000 receiving yards, which he could, he's gonna need about 104 yards per game to do this, which is doable. Um, I think he deserves it.
I
I
think
think
he'll
he
get it
should
at that
win.
point.
He should
Yeah.
win. Because at number 1, and this is why there's such a big debate, was Jalen Hurts because he's getting all these tush pushes, and I'm not really
Mhm.
holding that against him. He's the number 1 favorite in as far as Vegas goes. He's leading the race. I put him as my number 1 as well because he's a quarterback. He's great. He'd be one of the toughest guys I'd want to go against if I was playing on defense or if I was the defensive coordinator. Tush push or not, he's a great pass thrower. He extends plays. He's an incredible runner. The tush push works great. He gets the rushing stats always. I love him in fantasy. If the man doesn't give me 21.6 fantasy points, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say, hey, something's wrong with this guy. What happened to Jalen Hurts? Because I know the man's getting me at least 21, 22 fantasy points. That's his floor. Like
Yeah.
every week. He'll have a terrible week and still get you 22 fantasy points. He's great. So number 1's Jalen Hurts. What are you guys' thoughts? Who's your MVP? But this is mine. I think it's a pretty good list. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe move Dak Prescott up 1 spot. I don't
Yeah.
even want to move him above CMC. On my list, CMC is more valuable player than Dak.
I would agree, man. I would agree. He's
He's
doing
so
some
good.
unbelievable things. Yeah.
He's so good. And then this year, I'm very impressed by the power runs. So
Yeah.
he runs up the gut, gets 8 yards, and I'm like, okay, well, you can't stop this because we all know he's incredible in space. So
Yeah.
you can't stop up the gut, Christian McCaffrey. It's game over. Like he's pretty strong. He's a power back. He's not like the most powerful back. He's not like Derrick
Yeah.
Henry or anything, but even as a quick like return guy, in space guy, to be a really good power back as well. I'm very could be that muscle he put on. He put on a little bit of muscle.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He put on it was 2 years ago.
I
He
didn't
did that
realize.
while he was
Okay.
still on the Panthers. Yeah, I put on 10,
Yeah.
15 pounds of muscle. And I think he's been working on that. Like it just didn't come all of a sudden. He's a really good power running back. I'm like, okay, well, game over. GG after you got that in your bag too.
See, I'll tell you one thing, right? You mentioned a point earlier about Tony Pollard, how like he's been kind of propped up a little bit because that's just the nature of our running backs on good offenses. They get propped up. The fact that Christian McCaffrey was incredibly dominant in Carolina and now is on, I would argue, a much better offense, not just a better offense, but a much better offense, given all the weapons around him. And he's still equally dominant. That just tells you how good he is. Like he's so good. It doesn't matter where he is. He's not going to get further elevated because there's no other higher place to go to. He's already just crushed it, which is amazing to me. Just want to throw that in there. Christian McCaffrey.
Travis is talking about the MVP award. So another thing I want to talk about, the MVP award is just a quarterback award. I'm going to cry about it and
Yeah.
I feel like that's a very old topic. Stop it. Stop talk. Like, it is what it is. We've known that. It's fine. That's why they have an Offensive Player of the Year award. So
Hmm.
the MVP award is essentially a quarterback award, but they have the OPOY, Offensive Player of the Year. And so that one is going to go to Tyreek Hill or Christian McCaffrey, probably.
For sure.
And the MVP is going to probably go to a quarterback like Jalen Hurts or Dak or something.
Yep.
If Dak doesn't screw it up towards the end. So, I mean, it is what it is. There's enough awards. I mean, it's just the way it is. And frankly, talking about it is just cringe and like played out at this point. Like, yes, everyone knows MVP award is quarterback award, but they have another one. And so that's the one. If
That's
you're a
the
non
one.
QB, you're
Yep.
gonna try to win. And right now, I think it's clear cut between Tyreek Hill and CMC. Like, those two are going head to head.
Yeah.
I'd put Mahomes over Lamar. Pat has Kelsey and 1,000 wide receiver threes. Huh? Oh, having to trust Kadarius Toney on a few. He's saying he's got terrible wide receivers.
I
Mahomes is
got you.
having
Yeah.
to
So
trust Kadarius Toney on a few passes. Lamar and Mandrews before. Yeah, that's for your list. I guess good reasoning, but I just don't factor that in as much because you got to play with what you got. So like, I'm that's the same reason I'm not knocking Jalen Hurts because he has the other Kelsey. He has Jason Kelsey. I'm not going to knock
for his tush
Jalen
push,
Hurts
right?
because of that. It's a big deal.
It is. Oh
Obviously,
yeah.
the dude's a Hall of Famer. Like, it matters. I'm not going to knock him, just like I'm not going to knock the Chiefs for trading away Tyreek Hill. Yeah, Mahomes would be better with Tyreek Hill this year. But last year, he was better without Tyreek Hill. So like, it is what it is. Like, I can't factor in all these. You can only play with the team you're given and the circumstances you're given.
Yeah.
Lamar, though, on the ground, I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's a little bit like Josh Allen. Like, I've seen this. He's a superhero. Like, I've seen him really put the team on his back and really do it well on the ground. Like, he's the most talented rushing QB ever. So Mike Vick said Lamar's better than me. So it's hard to argue with that one. All right. So for those anybody was going to bring up Vic said Lamar's better. Like, he's the best. He's amazing, dude. Like, he's great. Just
Yeah.
him doing what he does, even if he doesn't do it well, tires out the defense. So by the third quarter, fourth quarter, I see a lot of defenses playing different because it's like, dude, we have to guard the Ravens. They're so tough. They run up the gut with the running backs. Their wide receivers are fast. And then we got Lamar, who's an amazing rusher and can throw it deep. Like, it's tough to guard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll say
that's a
one
fair
thing
point.
just to respond to this. I personally would agree with how you have it, have Lamar over Mahomes, because here's the thing, right? With these types of MVP awards and stuff, perception really does matter a lot, right? And generally speaking, I know you mentioned some stuff about Lamar with the fumbles and as of late and whatever. And generally speaking, Lamar Jackson has had a pretty good season. And it's no secret that Patrick Mahomes, for his incredibly lofty and high standards that he's already set for himself, he's having a down year. So, like, why is that fair? Because one guy is held to a higher standard or has shown us more and whatever. Maybe, maybe not. Fine, but perception does matter in that sense. So, like, people are not going to say Mahomes in a down year versus Lamar, who's again very very talented player and having a good year. I just don't see how that's going to work. At least as of today. Of course, things could change the next 6 weeks, but as of right now, I just can't. I can't do that. I don't know. I just can't.